Hello, hello, welcome to Axiom Flux News with me, PJ, Dom, and Blackhole Bridger. Today's date's the 7th of March 2015. Straight into my first article is the country working itself to death. It's published 2 hours ago. Around 4.74 million people in Japan work more than 60 hours per week. In this country, people are literally working themselves to death. Every year, hundreds of overstressed Japanese workers succumb to heart attack, stroke, or suicide due to a lack of work-life balance. The problem, which first rose to prominence in the 1980s, has become so bad it even has its own name: karoshi, death by overwork. Last week, a British expat living in Tokyo, going by the handle Stew in Japan, posted a video on YouTube titled "A Week in the Life of a Tokyo Salaryman." The video documented a typical 80-hour week during his financial services company's busy season from January to March, 13 hours days for 6 days a week straight, leaving the office at 11 p.m. every night with barely time to squeeze in dinner. It was a humorous look at a serious issue. There are definitely people in Tokyo who do this all year round in order to support their families, he wrote. I couldn't imagine having to do this if I had those kinds of responsibilities as well. Late last year, the Japanese government finally decided to do something about the endemic culture of overwork, which has been blamed not just on a growing number of deaths, but also the country's critically low birth rate and declining productivity. Although Japan is notorious for hard work, it's equally known for inefficiency and bureaucracy. Workers sit around the name of team spirit, despite questionable performance. Young workers feel uncomfortable going home before their bosses do, working overtime for free, called sabi zuzagayo, or service time, is prevalent. There's an image there. In Japan, Japanese salarymen pack a pub in Tokyo's business district in the evening. That's if they're fortunate to. According to Japanese government figures from 2013, around 22% of Japanese full-time employees work more than 49 hours a week, while 8.8 or around 4.74 million people worked more than 60 hours a week. That 60-hour mark crosses the threshold of 80 hours monthly overtime, which is one of the criteria used in determining whether a death can be attributed to overwork. According to the Japan Times, more than 300 people each year over the past decade have been awarded compensation under work-related accident insurance after suffering heart attacks or strokes, with a growing number claiming damages for work-related mental health problems. In November, a restaurant chain was ordered to pay 57.9 million in Japanese currency to the family of one worker who hanged himself after working an average of 190 hours of monthly overtime in the 7 months leading up to his death. Barely half the holiday days allotted to Japanese workers are even taken, an average of 9 days per individual a year. Under the new law, employers will be responsible for ensuring their workers actually take their holidays. The new law will allow more flexible work hours, encouraging parents to spend more time with their children during summer months. For instance, when school is closed, experts say the law is a start, while acknowledging the roots of the dilemma lie deep. In an editorial last November, the Japan Times welcomed the new law despite describing the move as largely symbolic. The law makes it the duty of the government to take steps to eliminate overwork-induced deaths or suicides of employed workers, but it does not impose new work hour regulations or penalties on businesses that have employees work excessive hours, the paper wrote. Spread a thought for those in Japan. If you think you're breaking your back in UK, any comments on that one from the panel?
Well, it amazes me how some people complain when they've done a 40-hour week how tired they are. So if they were to be there, they would not survive, would they?
No, I mean, these people who go to work just constantly clock watching, wait for the next break. You know, just all they're thinking about is break time, break time.
If they were just to get down and get on with the work, the time disappears so quick, the break could be there upon them before they know it. But they're so busy clock-wise watching, it drags the time out for them.
It certainly does. Well, that's what I've noticed anyway. I think it's a lot easier on yourself just to get stuck in and forget about it.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it's now getting to the stage where you're having to put so many hours in just to be able to keep your family afloat. Once upon a time, it was just the man in the family that went to work and the wife stayed at home to look after the kids, bring them up, help teach them how to relate to the world, this, that and the other, and do all the meals and get all the meals ready for the hard-working man. But now, not even two, the couple go out to work, and the kids get kind of neglected or get pushed to one side because they're so busy, and then they wonder why we have problems in our society.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because those problems weren't about when I was a young lad. Yeah, sorry, I'll rephrase that. Those problems were not about to the very high degree they are now when I was a young boy.
Yeah, but back then though, Paul, you know, the mothers were not really happy with that sort of lifestyle, to be honest with you, where they really didn't want to be stuck at home cooking dinners and washing clothes all day for the rest of their life, you know.
No, I mean, yeah, what I'm saying is the powers to be have took that up and run with it, and now they're slaving both partners.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree on that stance. I'm just saying it can benefit both parents if they're both in work. Some people, you know, prefer to have it that way. It should be an individual choice. You shouldn't have to be both forced to work just because of financial reasons.
But that's what the situation is nowadays because of financial reasons.
Yeah.
With rents being so high, council taxes being so high, this, that, and the other being so high, power costs, electricity, gas, it's all so expensive that the both are having to go out to work now. But unless the one person is on a real good wage, that the other one can stay at home, they're lucky if they can, if they're able to do that. But there's not very many that can. It's very few and far between.
Yeah, some of the hard-working parents out there doing 2 jobs,
Yeah.
even 3 jobs in some circumstances, you know. Okay, well, that's the country working itself to death is Japan. So the next one, moving over to Ireland with the austerity. Thousands to protest national broadcasters' bias reporting. Thousands of anti-austerity campaigners will gather outside Irish national broadcaster RTE's headquarters on Saturday to protest against what they say is bias reporting that represents the interests of a marginal elite. Protesters will assemble at 1 p.m. at the Sacred Heart Church in Donnybrook, South Dublin, before making their way to the national broadcaster's studios nearby. The demonstration has been organised by a diverse collective of anti-austerity and political campaign groups coming from far-flung regions all over Ireland. So this is a tweet, I think this is. Maybe not. But anyway, it says 9 people charged after the Irish water protest, which I covered several weeks ago, a few weeks ago. RTE did not cover protests, but cover this. Why so biased for Irish water? Among these are anti-water charges, campaign groups that have protested regularly in recent months against the Irish government's water taxation policy. The Irish government's proposed water tax forms part of its long-term plan to repay billions of socialised bank debt, stemming from a banking crisis that brought Ireland's economy to its knees. Following an IMF EU bailout in 2010 that resulted in years of harsh austerity measures, Ireland's economy is yet to fully recover. Campaigners say the RTE's representation is failing the wider Irish populace and has concealed some of the darkest manifestations of austerity which have befallen the Irish populace since 2008. They accuse the station of portraying Ireland as a nation in recovery when in reality unemployment remains stubbornly high, suicide rates are soaring, and families who have bailed out corrupt bankers are being evicted from their homes and forced onto the street. Read that again if you didn't get that the first time, because I like that little short sentence there. They also warn of political policing in Ireland, where anti-austerity activists are being arrested for exercising their democratic right to protest. Paul Cheevers, leading organiser of Saturday's protest, said the Irish people refuse to continue to be fooled by the RTE's representation. The father of 2 called upon the broadcaster to question establishment sources and refrain from peddling inaccuracies. Cheevers, who has been active in Ireland's anti-water charges movement, accused RTE of focusing its lens on the interest of a government that has lost touch with the electorate. In recent months, the personal trainer and father of 2 has actively resisted the installation of water meters in Rialto, Dublin, along with other local activists. The Irish government will use the meters to facilitate the charging of Irish citizens for water usage. Opposition MPs and campaigners say the imposition of these water charges has already spawned the largest social movement Ireland has seen in decades. Quite a lengthy article, but I'm just touching on the key parts to this. So yet again, McDermott said Ireland's supposed economic recovery is largely a myth, perpetuated by RTE and other mainstream media outlets in Ireland. There's been no recovery for the majority of people in Ireland. I work hard, and at the end of the month, I have nothing, he said. I don't go out, myself and my wife don't waste money, but the reality is the 99% in this country can't live the way we should. The prospect of losing your home, the place where your family should be safe from harm, is one that puts people into a very dark place, he said. I would know. I've been there, and that's why I will always do anything I could to help people out, he added. So today's protest, Saturday, is one of the many recent protests in Ireland, and citizens continue to battle against strangulating austerity and economic stagnation. An estimated 100,000 people took to the streets of Dublin in December in protest against the Irish government's water charges, and austerity prevails in Ireland, and unemployment, poverty and homelessness remain rife. Campaigners call for tangible social and political reform are gaining momentum. So both of those in Ireland are doing the best they can to stop this water meter charge. We've been charged once, twice, now 3 times. You know, it's triple dipping. We've gone past double dipping, we're on triple dipping now. So what's your thoughts on that, Blackhole? Or even Dom, anyone?
Well, about the governments being lost touch with their electorate, they're so far removed, they might as well be living on Mars.
Well, that's it. That's true say, you know, they might as well be living on Mars for, you know, how much attention they pay.
He said that they're getting all their allowances and benefits from their politicians' pay. They're doing okay, thank you very much. It's a case of F-U-C-K-U, Jack, am I right?
Yeah. But terrific work for those that are out there doing something about it. You know, exercising your democratic right to protest is one thing we all should really be doing while we're given the chance to do it. Yeah, that's my thoughts on that. So keep it up, those in Ireland.
Yeah, it's not only that, PJ. It's the government not only so far removed from their electorate. Soon as the electorate start using their rights and protest, may I add, peaceful protest, they get arrested. What is this dictatorship that we're coming under? Because that's what it is. It's a dictatorship if you're not allowed to use your rights.
Well, that's what your rights are for. You know, not many people understand. They think rights. You should, you know, appreciate what you've got. Well, no, not necessarily, you know. Yeah, fair enough. Everybody, I'm sure, appreciates what they've got. But your rights are basically to prevent state dictatorships, like,
Yeah.
you know, like we seem to be.
That is why they're getting in water cannons, this, that, and the other. They do not want us to have these rights. Yet they're there in law. So they are breaking the law to stop us using our laws.
Well, that's it, you know, you either be cannon fodder or you get cannon foddered.
Yeah.
Take your pick.
Well, I'd rather die on my feet than live on my feet than die on my knees.
Yeah. Well, my next one is no different from the biasness. Jew, run. Social experiment suggests rising UK anti-Semitism. Social experiment designed to gauge levels of anti-Semitism in Britain turned up some shocking results. Journalist Jonathan Calmus set out to get a sense of anti-Jewish feeling in the UK by donning religious dress and visiting 2 UK cities. Wearing the traditional kippah head covering, which is one of them. He walked around the streets of Manchester and Bradford. He said he was almost immediately subject to anti-Semitic abuse. He heard slurs including "fight the Jewish scum" and was told "Jew, Jew, Jew, run." The racist comments included, he says, those from a small boy who was walking with his father in Bradford. One passerby spat at him, he claims. In January, a YouGov poll asked 3,411 UK adults about their attitudes toward UK Jewish citizens. It found that 45% polled believe at least one anti-Semitic view presented to them was definitely or probably true. Many found cliches and stereotypes about Jews to be true. 1 in 4 believed Jewish people chase money more than others, while 1 in 6 people felt Jews thought they were better than other people and had too much power in the media. Gideon Falter, chairman of the campaign against anti-Semitism, which commissioned the study, said Britain is at a tipping point. Unless anti-Semitism is met with zero tolerance, it will grow, and British Jews will increasingly question their place in their own country. Britain's Jews must be shown that they are not alone. Indiscriminately targets all Israelis. Oxford University Student Union voted down a motion on Thursday to break ties with the boycott, divestment and sanctions, movement in a move which was heavily criticised by some Jewish students. Ben Goldstein, who proposed the motion and was quoted in the Jewish Chronicle, argued the BDS movement indiscriminately targets all Israelis. The move was rejected by 72 votes to 30, with 28 people abstaining. Last Friday, the Students' Union of the School of Oriental and African Studies in London ruled on the issue as part of its Israeli Apartheid Week. The union voted in favour of a full academic boycott of Israel. All involved were over 2,000 students and staff. The boycott passed by a margin of around 75%, with 425 students opposing the motion. The union has been associated with the BDS campaign since 2005. The SOAS branch of the movement featured central in the build up to the vote, calling for the referendum late last year. On Thursday, Jewish students at SOAS complained of intimidation. One student was allegedly told to F off to Israel, while another said they are afraid to go to lectures or student common rooms for fear of being verbally abused. Some Jewish students claim the atmosphere on campus has become increasingly difficult since the BDS campaign began. So, I think I discussed this with you, Paul. You joined me on the day when there was teaching school children in Scotland terrorism homework, yeah?
Yeah, yeah. Now, the thing that beats me there was, one of the questions was, do you think it's right for the Palestinians to think they have the right to bomb Israelis? Now, that's a loaded question anyway, so that should never have been put to a child. It should have been given an open question, not a loaded question. And another thing is, Palestinians are Semitic anyway. And this is what people tend to forget. The Palestinians are Semitic and the Jewish people are Semitic. So this rubbish about anti-Semitism is just a divide and rule mechanism. What the trouble is, people don't seem to be able to differentiate between Jews and Syrian Jews, which have none of the Jewish blood in them, the Syrian Jews, and they're what is known as the Zionists, and they hide behind the good Jewish banner, saying they are Jews, and they are the ones that have got all the media outlets, are in charge of all these high positions, work their ways into high positions. And it was Rothschilds that set up Israel through the Balfour Treaty. Israel is a Zionistic state, but there's a lot of very good Jewish people in there that are against what's going on with Palestine as it is. And it's the Syrian Jews that are not real Jews that are the problem. And people need to get this information into their little boxes that sit on top of their shoulders. There is a vast difference between Jewish people of Jewish blood and the Syrian Jews, which are not of Jewish blood.
Yeah.
Because they are using this divide and rule mechanism to stir people more trouble and hatred, because they thrive of the hatred which they stir. Because if they're setting two factions against each other, then two factions are not looking who's really causing the trouble. Those from up above.
I think it's important to teach children different cultures, that we've got. So people, so children can grow up to make their own understanding of what it is, what people, lifestyle they live. But me personally, I don't attribute anything to anyone, you know what I mean? You're just a physical, living, conscious entity, a being, yeah, and that's as far as it goes with me. And I don't really agree with this article at all, really, to be honest, because if, for example, say if you saw somebody who, allegedly called himself a Christian, but they was doing unchristian things, then you'd be wrong to have then have a go at them for not being Christian, because they're not Christian. They've already proved to you that they're not. In your judgment. So why would you then bring it up to them and say, listen, you're meant to be Christian, aren't you? Well, obviously you're not. So you're looking for some sort of, I don't know what it is.
Aggravation of some sort, yeah.
Of some sort, and that's where it does. I think that's where it rubs on you.
Yeah.
And if you can't control that, then you can get yourself into avenues where you don't really need to be going down. If you treat people the same, but as individuals, and you don't really take into consideration, where people live and what land they're walking on, and colour of their skin, and
that's it with people. They're far too quick at picking out the speck of sawdust in somebody else's eye when they're not recognising the plank that's sitting in their own eye.
That's it. Spot on that black hole. I like that one. We're good in that. Well, we'll leave that one for the audience to make their own opinions on. That'll bring me to my next one, which is leaders debates. PM rejects broadcasters' call. So there's been a lot in mainstream about this. The UK's major broadcasters plan to host 3 TV debates before the election, but Number 10 insists the PM is only willing to do 1. Now, as much as I've heard lately, he didn't really want to do any.
No.
But there's a little video here, so I'll go ahead.
I think he's absolutely petrified of doing one. He knows he's got to do at least 1, and he's petrified.
Right, let me just try and see if we can get this video going.
Britain's broadcasters have hit back, and they're sticking to their guns. They'll go ahead as originally planned with 2 7-way debates, and if the Prime Minister doesn't turn up, the debates go on without him. Crucially, despite Mr Cameron's demands for any debate to take place before the election campaign starts in earnest, they will still be held on the 2nd and 16th of April. And Sky News and Channel 4's head-to-head debate still penciled in for April the 30th, but if both parties agree, this could be brought forward.
We have made it very clear that the debates will go ahead. We hope that the Prime Minister decides to reconsider our invitation and take part, but they will go ahead with the leaders that decide to turn up.
This was a response to Number 10's final, in fact only offer for David Cameron to participate in 1 7-way debate in 3 weeks' time. His communications director, Craig Oliver, wrote back immediately expressing his disappointment. He wrote, "I made the Prime Minister's final position clear in my last letter. He is willing to do a 7-way debate in the week beginning March the 23rd. I'm ready to discuss at your convenience the logistics of making the debate we have suggested happen." So the standoff continues, but now the stakes are even higher. In theory, we will now get election debates like in 2010, but the PM will not take part. Other parties backed the broadcasters.
It's make up your mind time for David Cameron. He can keep running from these debates with me and show himself to be a weak leader running from his record, or he can agree to these debates and give the British people what they deserve our democracy needs.
The Green Party, today gathering for spring conference in Liverpool, are only in the debates thanks to Mr Cameron. Now their leader says he should take part.
The fact is, Mr Cameron, with his stance, is really doing even further damage to trust in British politics. We need to move on. People need to hear the full range of political spectrum in Britain.
Will the broadcasters really hold debates without the sitting Prime Minister? They say yes. And will the Prime Minister really stand by and watch them happen without him? Number 10 says yes. Yet more uncharted territory in this extraordinary election. Faisal Islam, Sky News.
Well, there you go. My opinion, he should be banned from debating.
Well,
the reason why he won't attend Blackhole is because he knows he's going to expose himself if he does.
Yeah.
Which brings me on to my next article, really, next day, so we're still sticking with that one. But this one's the Green Party proposes scrapping policy to abolish all cars as it happened. Natalie Bennett and the Greens gathering in Liverpool ahead of the general election. The Green Party is gathering for its spring conference in Liverpool. Leader Natalie Bennett is under pressure after dire media performances. Delegates will discuss whether to retain some of the party's more outrageous policies. Membership is at high, but can the party capitalise at the general election? Going into this is a few videos in one word what the Green Party means to its supporters. So I'm going to play this and then I've got another one after that.
Alright.
My name is Bluebell, and the Green Party means to me freedom!
Principles.
Grandchildren.
Caring.
Fairness.
Equality.
Survival.
Integrity.
What the Green Party means to me is healthcare.
Future.
Hi, my name's Mandy, and in one word, the Green Party means to me cooperation.
There you go. So in one word, Blackhole and Dom, what does the Green Party mean to you?
Well, I can't honestly say what it means to me. One minute they're saying they're on a no fracking platform, next minute I hear that they're for fracking. So I can't make up my mind on somebody that can't make up their mind.
Well, let's put some
Well,
minutes.
they come out with figures, but they don't know the maths.
Well, let me just go to this, Dom, and we'll ask you the same question I've just asked Blackhole.
Mr. Bennett, have you got your brain in gear today?
Sorry. We're heading in to get to register for the conference. That's starting.
So no brain fade today?
Absolutely not.
And have you memorised your speech? Or are you going to, is there a risk you might forget big chunks like Ed Miliband did?
No, I'm not doing that. I have a text that I'll be following.
What's all this about an alliance with the SNP?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I really need to get into register.
What's all this about an alliance with the SNP?
I'm getting into register.
Is that something that you're thinking of doing? Some kind of alliance with the SNP?
Okay, we're going to have to get on these escalators, so we're going to have more safety issues.
Have you got something new to tell us today, or is it going to be all old stuff? It's only time for interviews later. Is it going to be something new today?
Hiya! Good to see you.
Is there going to be any new policies today?
Yeah,
It's silly that the leader wears a pass.
Okay, cheers.
No, that didn't really say much, because did she not put in? Wait, where's the other videos? Hold on a minute.
She kept on trying to avoid the question of are they forming an alliance with the SNP.
No, this is the one.
This is the same lady that couldn't get all her house building policies figures straight.
Well, let me just go back to this, because I'm sure.
Not straight. She didn't just get him not straight. She didn't actually know him at all. She just came out with all this saying we'll build 500,000 council houses.
Listen.
That's how where you get money to pay for it. She didn't have a clue.
Listen to this, because listen to what it says in this one, right?
Ready to discuss at your convenience the logistics of making the debate we have suggested happen. So the standoff continues, but now the stakes are even higher. In theory, we will now get election debates like in 2010.
Let's find this part
where the PM will not take
Bennett.
part. Other parties backed the broadcasters.
It's make up your mind time for David Cameron.
This is Ed's speech.
Running from these debates with me and show himself to be a weak leader running from his record, or you can agree to these debates.
Ed, you can't run for nothing. You're a robot, man.
What they deserve and democracy needs.
This is it. Listen.
The Green Party, today gathering for spring conference in Liverpool, are only in the debates thanks to Mr. Cameron. Now their leader says he should take part.
The fact is, Mr. Cameron, with his stance, is really doing even further damage to trust in British politics. We need to, we need to move on. People need to hear the full range of political spectrum in Britain.
People need to hear the full political spectrum in Britain. And when, that video I just showed you, that guy's asking her all these questions, she didn't even answer him.
How many times did Michael Crick ask her? About 3, maybe even 4 times, and she avoided it every time.
This is another one, Greens are the politics of the future. I'm not even going to promote this because it's becoming like I'm promoting them. And it's not really a surprise to say that from the Telegraph, really. But I'll leave that anyway, that's all on the leader debate, so...
Well, I don't think that Natalie Bennett, the Greens party leader, can come back from this. I think that she'll end up getting replaced. You can see it. If not before election, after election.
Yeah. This one, let me just zoom up a bit on this because it's make it a bit more bigger. There we go. This is the cocaine and cannabis users to be targeted with new drug drive laws. A new law has come into effect to tackle the number of drug drivers. The new law will make it illegal to drive with a specific controlled drug in the body above the accepted limit for that drug. Police Casualty Reduction Officer Barry Gardner said, all roads policing officers are also trained to detect drivers who are under the influence of drugs. There are a worrying number of drivers now caught drug driving. This new law will help reduce the time, expense and effort involved for the police and the courts when prosecutions fail because of the difficulty of proving that a driver is impaired by a particular drug under current legislation. New limits will be set at very low levels for 8 illegal drugs such as cannabis and cocaine, and the new legislation also covers prescription drugs.
Yeah, like diazepam.
Yeah.
That'll be, if you're on diazepam, they'll stop you from driving with that.
Yep.
Well, that is totally unfair for some people. Let's take head injuries, for example. Head injuries, they need those drugs to bring their heads down to a normal rate.
Yeah, but this is if you this is for the driver of a car if you're actually driving, If it's in your system, that doesn't mean that you've necessarily took that drug on that day. It could be in your system for quite a few hours or a few days.
Well, cannabis stays in your system for about 58 days, doesn't it?
Yeah, between 60 and 70 days. Yeah.
Yeah, so what level are they setting it at? So you can have a smoke at the weekend in the privacy of your own home, and then on a Saturday, then come Monday, you're still too high to drive to work? No, it depends on what levels they're setting it, but you can guarantee they're not going to set it anywhere near the levels for what drinkers have.
No. But
So therefore, they're victimising people that want to smoke cannabis or have the need to smoke cannabis for medical reasons.
Well, they will be out on the roads now with the machines stopping people and asking for consent of a test. So you're basically giving him consent. You're basically saying you're guilty if you know that you've had a bit of this stuff and you've got yourself behind the wheel. Expect to get banned.
Admittedly, if you've had a cigarette before you jump in your car, I totally disagree with that. But well, if you've had a joint or spliff or whatever you want to call them at the weekend and come Monday, you want to drive to work, there should be no stopping you because it doesn't impair you for hours and hours and hours after you've had a joint.
And I don't know what this must be in a foreign image because nobody builds the stuff like that. Look at a big massive piece of stuff in the end. He's not tobacco. Yeah. He's not obviously.
Yeah, Dom, some people smoke what is termed as blunts, and that is cannabis only.
Yeah, but it's usually in a cigar leaf pull or some sort of, you know, blunt wrap.
Yeah.
It's very rare you get, you know. Even Dutch smokers think we're mad for how we smoke it.
Well,
There you go.
I've seen people that go stupid on it. Well, those people that go stupid on it should be kept from behind the wheel because they're putting other people's lives at risk. That I truly agree with.
Me personally, I don't think anybody should smoke in a car, especially the driver. I mean, you can't smoke in a car now, as I'm aware. You definitely can't be driving around with a spliff hanging out your mouth. That's for sure.
No.
So,
No, you can smoke and drive, and you can smoke a cigarette and drive. It's not actually being outlawed.
Does it not? I thought it had.
No.
So it has if you've got children in the car and if it's a working environment.
You're not allowed to eat at the wheel, but for some reason you're allowed to smoke.
Well, if you've got any sense, you will not be smoking a cigarette in the car with children in there.
Well, that's supposed to be an outlawed.
Well, I thought it should be banned completely. I don't think you should be able to smoke at all in a car.
Well, no, because if you are smoking and you accidentally drop your cigarette out the chair or something, you're trying to put it out because it's going to bear fruit seat.
Yeah.
You're going to have a coffee, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that can cause an accident, can't it?
Yeah.
Quite a panic one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because especially if it's a nice car, you think, oh shit, I don't want a bag burning seat.
Mm.
You're quickly pulling over, you're not looking behind you, and then suddenly someone goes into you.
Yeah, you're doing things out of reaction rather than looking first.
Yeah.
Well, my final article, which is spitting at someone really worse than a leg-breaking tackle? The spitting row between, you could probably say these names better than me, Dom.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
Have you heard about it?
Apparently, Johnny Evans has denied it, but Papa sees it. He's apologised.
Right, okay. Pretty disgusting. But is it the lowest of the low, or just a British obsession? This is not acceptable, it's disgusting, said Diet Mohammed, a laid-back type who one imagines isn't so easily revulsed. Phil Neville thought it was unacceptable, while Robbie Savage, a man many actively choose to disagree with, whatever his opinion, found many echoing his thoughts that the unpalatable act is the lowest of the low.
Well, it is. If you get caught spitting in the street, you get a fine. But yeah, they can do it on pitch and they can spit at each other and they get away with it.
Well,
They've got their own rules.
They class it as assault, do they not? Spitting.
But the thing is, football governs itself, so it's not an assault. You can't take it to police. It has to be dealt with in football, with FA.
But that means they're above the law. While they're playing football, they're above the law.
Yeah, well, that's how it is. They've just got their own rules.
And nobody should be above the law, according to Ian Duncan Smith.
That's right, Blackhole. Oh, well. The gruesome images of Stephen Ireland's leg after tackle. There's a little video, I'll get this one up there. Probably already seen it, Dom.
I didn't see that from the bench. I think it is too far to see.
I didn't see video, I just saw a picture of it. But I'll see it in that video.
So I cannot judge that. But I cannot imagine that Johnny Evans, because he is a very modest person, that he could do that. So I cannot imagine. No, it was not a discussion in the dressing room. We were very pleased with the victory.
Yeah, it's just an interview with Van Gaal that said used it on. There is a spitting. It is out there though. The spitting clip.
Is it possible for you to bring that video up of that bus driver for a minute?
What bus driver?
That bus driver. That video that you showed me with that woman. She's on the bus with that driver and.
Oh yeah, I know which one you mean. 1 minute. You have to...
Bring that up. Don't matter about audio. Bring that up and show this to the viewers. Meanwhile,
it happened in America. It happened in Cleveland, in America.
Well, while Dom's doing that, I did actually forget to put my own thoughts on the Green Party. So, what exactly does the Green Party mean to me in one word? Well, let me do this and I'll show you. This is what it means. Here you go. It means nothing but green, and I ain't got no words.
Full of pledges that they can't deliver. Impossible pledges as well.
Can't see the, the green grass.
A five-year-old could have dreamed up better policies than Natalie Bennett.
You ready any closer on that video there?
Yeah, it's done. It's ready for you.
Go on and share your screen and that, yeah. This is the spitting argument.
Are you ready?
Yeah, go on. So as you can see, the bus driver's got out of his seat.
This is actually a different clip, actually. I've not actually watched this one with the young Turk when I got it off.
Uppercut to the lady there who spat on him.
This looks like it's made by a man who actually found it funny.
So there you go, we've got people breaking legs and spitting and uppercuts and all sorts of stuff there. It's getting beyond a joke, really, this football, to me.
People seem to be drained of their civility nowadays.
Well, that's all I've got. That's my wrap-up at articles. Any final thoughts before we finish?
Well, thank you, PJ.
Yeah, the next general election, don't vote Tories, don't vote UKIP, and don't vote Green.
What about Labour?
Well, that's an option if you want to decide to vote them.
Well, good
Vote
to know.
independent. Vote people that are standing independently. That way we will get things more sorted. While we're all going behind these party lines, the strings are pulled by the same puppet masters behind all the different major parties.
So what are you suggesting to the, well, not suggesting, but what's your opinions on these independent parties, Blackhole? Which ones would you have in mind?
Well, people in the communities that are standing independent.
Yeah.
That are not having to abide by the whips. Now, since when can whips and democracy work in the same sentence? I don't know how that works myself as a democracy.
Well, we're going to be covering a lot of this general election over the weeks to come until the, the climb of the election itself, on May the 8th, I believe it is. Okay, well, that's all I've got, so do join us again tomorrow for some more Flux news. Till then, take care, and we'll see you again. Bye for now.